welcome to Pinstripe Chronicles. I am Katz. I'm here with Donald, and joining us again is Nikki. And last night was the best way to describe this, to really sum everything up in one word, in one sentence.
Embarrassing?
That was a classic pitches duel that turned into a circus. Because the first 9 innings were like straight up playoff baseball type of play. And the pitches were just really Castillo and Cole. That's a pitches outing from those two guys that we expect. We got what we expected, and the back and forth, the dominance, the lack of hits, the lack of base running that we expected. In the extra innings, once they started getting base runners, it just all fell apart, and the Yankees were determined to lose that game. And the pitchers were going, no, all right, we'll give you another chance. And they kept getting out of the bottom of the inning. So, Donald, embarrassing was really a good word for you. But do you feel the same way I do, that was a great game that turned into a circus?
I mean, I'm not too concerned about the optics of how good a game it was. We lost. The only good thing I'll take out of it was Garrett Cole was back to his ace self. Yeah. He pitched a shutout over 7 innings. I can't ask any more than that. He was exactly what we needed. We needed him to prove that he was the ace of the staff, and he did so. So if you're looking for a positive, that's the positive. If you want another positive, the bullpen, which we were complaining about in yesterday's show, showed up, showed out. They did a good job.
Yeah.
They got themselves out of some really hairy situations. And they did really well, apart from Loaizaga. So, everybody stepped up. Chapman looked better. Holmes, he was kind of shaky as well, but he got out of it with a good double play. So, I was happy with the bullpen. The pitching in general was just fantastic. You can't ask any more than 1 run over 13 innings, and the 1 run was over a ghost runner. So that was really, really positive. But we'll get into the circus very, very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Loaizaga because Nick and I were texting throughout the game last night. And I said, I'm like, what? I says, people are going to put this on Loaizaga when it really, he shouldn't have even been a factor. The base running is what cost us the game. I put no blame on the pitching at all.
Did you see his ERA?
I did see the ERA.
It's the number of the beast, 666.
And it was...
you never put anybody in with that ERA. You just can't do it.
You got to put him in eventually.
It's always gonna go wrong. Put the number of the beast in, it's never gonna go right.
So, Nick, as always, we like your input because you're from the outside looking in on Yankee baseball. What was your takeaway from yesterday's game?
I love games like that. I thought it was a great game. I thought Chapman looked great. I mean, he's really pushing for the 8th inning. He wants that 8th inning, if not the 9th. He looks like he's enjoying himself. I like what Chapman's doing. You guys are all down on him. I really like Chapman. Holmes is still, I don't know.
He looks shaky, doesn't he?
I think you guys got your heads got a little bit big early in the season with him, and he's coming back to earth. That's what he really has. That's what he is.
He doesn't have any presence on the mound. What I'll give to Chapman is he's got presence on the mound.
I've never seen the guy throw 99 miles an hour that looks so shaky.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when you're throwing that hard, you should be dominant. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't look dominant.
No, he doesn't. Like, if you look at Edwin Diaz, like when Diaz comes in, he's got the music, he's ready to go, he's intimidating. I think the opposition already feel like they're going to lose even before he throws his first pitch because he's got that kind of presence. That helps when you got that kind of presence, a little intimidation factor. But I don't get that from Holmes. He just looks a little bit nervous. His slider's off. His sinker has to be located. If it's not located, then he's going to get toasted.
Yeah. It's with Holmes. It's really weird because we see what he can do. We see the stuff that he has, and it was working for him. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't. And you have Chapman that's kind of rehabilitating himself amongst the fan base because I have a lot more trust in him than I did a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
When he first came back, into the bullpen. So it might be time, as much as people don't want it, because Chapman, is a very nerve-wracking pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But the trust in him is starting to rebuild for me, and it's I would trust him more in the late innings than in a situation that we saw the other day where it was a 5-run lead.
Well, he was hitting 101 on the gun, so that's a good. That is is a pretty good sign, and he was locating his pitches, which is basically it's all about for Chapman. If he doesn't locate, then he's going to lose. So that was good that he's getting his location back. I would give him a couple of 8th innings, see how he does. If he continues to pitch a shutout, then I'd give him a couple of closing situations because, as I say, I don't really trust Holmes. I didn't even trust him yesterday. I didn't even think he looked that great, but we kind of got away with it with a nice double play to help him. But let's move to the most important factor. All
right. Let's get into the fact that let's focus on the first 9 innings the first 7 innings with Cole on the mound. And one of the factors with Cole is you saw in his eyes the focus and determination that he had, and the conviction with every pitch. He was locked in. And the other factor to why he stayed locked in was the defense behind him. There were a lot of great defensive plays in this game last night, and everybody was just like, no, they weren't going to let the ball get past them. They were making diving catches for great double plays.
Wow, you'd think that we won the game the way you're talking, Tats. Let's give the people what they want. Come on, man. Are you not pissed? I'm pissed.
No, well, am I pissed that the Yankees lost? Yes, but sometimes it's necessary for peace of mind and for your own sanity. You got to look sometimes at the positive aspects of the game, especially when there are things that we have that we seem to have lost on.
What sanity are you expecting? You got Americans that are staying up till 2:00 in the morning watching this. They got to get up at work in 4 hours, and they've seen their team get 0 runs over 13 innings, and they had like 4 opportunities.
No, the base running was atrocious in the second half. I'm going to say the second half.
It was all atrocious.
I think as Yankee fans, you guys should be really happy that Garrett Cole did not have his best stuff last night, and he was still dominant. He did not have his best stuff last night. He wasn't locating like he can. He didn't have his best breaking ball. He really didn't have his best fastball, but he still dominated the Mariners with less than dominant stuff, in my opinion. I don't know. You guys see a lot more of him than I do, but
it's a good sign that he got through it. But I again, the only thing I'm taking out of it was that he got a shutout and proved that he's still kind of getting on the right track because he's been struggling for weeks and weeks. So that was a good thing. But I'm far too annoyed at this Benny Hill base running and basic determination to lose. Never seen a team determined to lose like the Yankees were yesterday.
Yeah. No, it was when you're going through extra innings, you have an automatic runner at second base. First base is obviously open, and there's only two batters an inning. It's like, how the hell can you call yourself a major league team when with an automatic runner you're only putting up going 2 batters an inning?
Bad managing.
Bad news Bears, man. It was a
bad
joke.
Managing.
It was Pee-wee baseball. I've never seen anything like it. I don't even think the kids would do that. It was kind of like you got your kid who doesn't really like baseball and doesn't really know what's going on, and you stick him at second base, and you're like, all right, just wait till there's contact and then just run, right? And then you got the kid just kind of running around in a circle. That's what the Yankees were doing yesterday. That's what IKF was doing. That's what Andujar was doing. They were just sort of like, oh, where am I? Oh, well, and I'll just run around in circles and not really know what's going on. That's what was happening yesterday. That was an absolute disgrace. What kind of coaching is that? What kind of management is that? What kind of brain is that? That's the team that you could be facing in the playoffs. That's a playoff caliber baseball team, and you play like that. That's a disgrace. They should be freaking ashamed of themselves.
Yes, it is. They were so desperate to score, they couldn't focus at all, and forgot how to play fundamental baseball. You know, that's the key to it. You know, but the one thing that I can never understand, and is you have an automatic runner, right? So they had in one of the I forget what inning it was. You had LeMahieu at second. They automatically walked Judge, which we'll get into in a little bit. And yeah, he was a Donaldson. Donaldson gets no. What was
Benintendi was batting third.
Benintendi bunt them over.
That's not the game no more.
No,
it isn't the game. But would you trust that? Well, okay. So say Benintendi moves them over. You're going to trust Josh Donaldson? Would you trust Josh Donaldson to get a runner in with a runner at third with less than 2 outs? I don't. You
just put all they had to do was get the ball in the air. You didn't need a home run or a base hit.
I know, but Donaldson's never proven anything. I just don't trust this team with runners in scoring position. They've been playing bad. I mean, they were shut out 2 games ago, and they kind of broke out the game prior, and then shut out again this time. So it's twice in 3 games we've been shut out, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so when it comes to the extra inning, how would you? What would you have? What do you like that they just try to hit the ball over the fence? Or do you want?
No. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying I just don't trust a lot of our guys with runners in scoring position. Of course, we should have moved runners over. If you looked at Jeff Nelson's tweet, Jeff Nelson was like, "Why is nobody bunting over the runner over to third base?" Jeff Nelson, one of the best relievers that we've ever had. So. He was upset about it, but that was old school baseball. We don't do old school baseball. That's been pushed out of the game. But I'll tell you what, there's really no excuse for what we did. Really, no excuse at all.
Nick, now you also agree that it's pretty much fake baseball in the extra innings.
I hate the extra innings.
As a National League fan, how do you feel like, with the bunting, it used to be the National League had more of the fundamentals of small ball. And the American League was like the power league. But you saw now obviously with the DH, it's all leveled out. How would you approach an inning like that?
If you get first and second and no outs, you bunt the guys over. Period.
Yep.
Period. And I coached that in high school. I didn't even have to give a sign. If it's first and second and no outs, you bunt the people over. If you don't, you're out of the game. Period. It's fundamental baseball. Get the guys over. You got second and third, 1 out. A fly ball breaks the tie. A base hit gives you a 2-run lead. I mean, I don't understand why we don't play small ball. How many times, and I've seen this plenty of times with my Mets, second, third, and they give guys 3 at-bats and nobody scores. Nobody moves. It's so frustrating. They're giving you a run. Take it.
Yeah, you had 3 innings of a free runner, and nothing.
No, 4, man. 4. 10, 11, 12, 13 with 4 innings with a runner at second base and no outs and no 1 run crossed the plate. That is absurd. It's absurd. And we ran ourselves out of it, which is even more absurd.
And the Mariners weren't thrown out there like Randy Johnson's. I mean, those guys were hittable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. And it's not like the Mariners did anything spectacular. We were literally just running ourselves out of the game every inning.
Yep.
I've never seen people do that before. It's against every fundamental I've ever seen where you're immediately running on contact at second base when you don't know where it's going. And that's insane. With nobody out, you can never ever be the first out at third. Never ever.
Yeah. Benintendi really, you definitely, you could see that once they pinch ran with LaCastro, you knew the double steal was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Benny would have had the steal. It's hard to say now in hindsight. But when you leave early like that, you got to be. That's where I was like, they're just not focused. They're not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when he's trying to run the third base, but then he kind of stopped halfway through and then just kind of muddled. Yeah, it kind of reminds me if you're like getting out of a junction in your car, but you're not really forthright in your decision making. You're like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Oh, and then you end up, getting yourself in a little bit of trouble that way. You have to make a decision. You can't. You have to shit or get off the pan. You can't just kind of just stand there like, if you're going to steal, run like your head's on fire. You can't just kind of like, ooh. Yeah, and that's what he was doing. So that was a mistake. Yep. But there was a hell of a lot worse.
Well, yeah.
What about IKF?
IKF.
Oh, my God. IKF. I'm once again calling for the Yankees to drop IKF. This is an absolute joke. What was he doing? When he rounded first and he tried to get on to second? While there was a rundown? What are you doing? What are you thinking?
No, it was the rundown. If it was a rundown between third and home, yeah, you try to get second base because they're focused on not letting the runner get past the score.
Yeah,
but going from second to third, and you're standing on first base, you stay where you are.
Good God, it was just so stupid. And what was Andujar doing? Remember Andujar? He was one caught out as well.
Drive.
You got the line drive, yeah.
Yeah, there's Aaron Hicks line drive, and Duhar was smoking a cigarette.
It was going over his head.
And Duhar was smoking a cigarette between second and third. I mean, I don't know what he was doing. Honestly, it was like you could put the Benny Hill theme tune to all the rundowns that we were caught ourselves. I've never seen in the history of baseball, I don't think this ever happened before, where back-to-back innings, there's been two batters that actually had at-bats in an entire inning, back to back. That has to be a record. I can't imagine this ever happened before.
I mean, I think that's worse than having a 3-pitch inning.
See, it's even choking up Nicky G here, man. You're all choking up here. The Yankees were that bad.
I enjoyed the game, but I mean, it was terrible baseball.
Yeah,
it was awful baseball.
The other problem that the Yankees are going to start to run into, and we saw it last night, is the intentional walk of Judge in high leverage spots. And
been calling for that for weeks. I've been telling you for weeks.
I know, me too. I knew it was going to happen. I said that was St. Louis' game plan. If there's no protection for Aaron Judge, all you're going to do is just walk Aaron Judge and get to the soft underbelly.
He's going to get the Barry Bonds treatment.
Yeah, he's getting the Barry Bonds treatment. If you don't get any protection, then that's on you. You know what I mean? And that's why I was so upset that Matt Carpenter was down. And Duhar's not a replacement for Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter's got power. He's intimidating. He's a multiple all-star.
He's a professional hitter. He's
a big loss. Now we have to wait for Rizzo. We have to wait for Stanton. I don't know where lesser spotted Stanton is. I don't know how Rizzo's back is holding up. There's some major concerns here because this team is useless without them.
Well, I thought that they were going to use Rizzo in a pinch hit last night.
Yeah, what was that about?
I don't know why they didn't.
If he's not starting, he's not playing till his back's 100%.
Well, he'll be in the. Boone said he'll be in the lineup today.
He could be in the lineup today. Maybe. If he's in the lineup today, then it's a complete joke. He didn't pinch hit yesterday.
Exactly.
What's a couple of hours going to do?
But you and that was before they pinch ran with LeCastro.
Yeah.
Because Donaldson was up, and then you had Andujar, who was playing DH. So what you could have done is, after Donaldson got on, leave him on base, if you really had to, or use LeCastro anyway, and pull Andujar back and put Rizzo up when you had the 2-1, and they didn't do that. So I think that was one of the mistakes they made, was they didn't utilize their bench properly either. So I think that's where it comes along the lines of Boone he had a very bad game managed.
Well, if you have Rizzo who's been sitting on the bench for 3 hours, you're not gonna, with a back injury, you're not gonna just go stretch it out and come out and play. You're gonna let him sit. I don't disagree with what they did. I wouldn't have put Rizzo in, not with dealing with the back injury. Let him rest. If you're not playing him, then don't play him. If you're gonna play him, start him. In my opinion,
it's just. Well, I mean, if he doesn't play today, then yeah, you're right. But if he plays today, then I can't see a scenario where he couldn't just pitch it for one at bat.
well, he sat for 3 hours. I mean, do you really want to risk a back injury?
Every pinch hitter sits for 3 hours. So does every.
Not with a back injury. Not coming off a back injury though. Do you really want to aggravate his back injury for one at bat? I mean, I wouldn't.
What would 24 hours do?
Not with a 10-game lead in the division. I'm not going to risk him another 3 weeks. Miss another 3 weeks because I went and had to have him pinch hit and he aggravated his back again.
And that's the crux of the matter. I don't think the Yankees are fully focused on the games right now. I think they're already looking ahead to October. I really do.
I think they got to work out the lineup situation. Teams aren't going to pitch a Judge. In my opinion, bat him leadoff. They're not going to pitch to him. Let him get on base all the time as a leadoff hitter because they're not going to pitch to him.
You can't lead off because then you need him in RBI situations, but
they're not going to pitch to him anyways.
I wouldn't have him bat second. I'd move him to third. I'd bat him third, so then there's an opportunity for Benintendi and LeMahieu to get on base, and then that would limit the chances for them to pitch around Aaron Judge. See if there's 2 runners on, they're not going to walk him to load the bases. And if they do, then they're stupid and they'll help us. So that's what I would do. I would move him down from second to third.
You only bat leadoff once. You're only going to bat leadoff once to start the game. That's it. So you bat him leadoff. Let DJ be behind him, with Rizzo behind him, with Stanton behind him. Go ahead, walk Judge, because now I got 3 bangers coming up.
The thing is, I don't want to mess with his approach. His approach is about his power swing. If he's muddled and more focused on trying to get on base, then we're taking away our best asset. He is our only asset right now. But they're our only asset without Rizzo and Stanton.
They're not. They are not.
Well, no, they're not. That's why it's on the Yankees to get some protection for him. And I do think it would be better to move him down in the order to third, because then it helps us put him in a position to get more RBI opportunities and lessen the likelihood of being pitched around.
Now, Nick texted me. I'm going to read this lineup to you, Donald. This is what Nick. This is how Nick would do his lineup with Rizzo and Stanton when they're both healthy. Yeah, Judge, Benny, DJ, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, Donaldson, Trevino, and Falefa. That's a hard lineup to navigate through.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have Judge leading off. I don't like Judge leading off. I don't like my power hitters leading off. I feel like putting Barry Bonds at lead off.
I think Judge going 2 or 3. Actually, I like him in a 2-spot sandwich between DJ and Benny. I think that would be an idea. I think.
So you like Judge batting second, yeah?
I still like him batting second.
Okay. Well, I like him third. So we go first, second, and third.
So it's all interpreted. It's also depending on the pitching matchups is what alters the lineups as well, and that's a factor that's not really discussed a lot. If you have your premier, if you have an ace on the mound, you're going to construct your lineup a little differently than when you have a 5th starter on the mound. So. And it's not a drastic change, but sliding somebody in the 2 and 3 spot that can significantly alter how pitchers have to navigate.
I also wouldn't have IKF as the starting shortstop. I would drop his ass.
They got to cut him.
He's awful. I don't think you're winning a championship with him as shortstop. I'm just saying that right now. I just don't think he's good enough to win you a championship. His -3 outs above average, which puts him second bottom, 29th. Anyway, that's defensively, and that's his only asset. It gives you 0 home runs and a 650 OPS. That's not enough to win you a championship. You need more. You need more. I'm not needing power necessarily. I'm needing more than 0 home runs and a better than a 650 OPS, which is way below average. I'm needing more than that, and I need his defense to be much better than this. This is disgraceful. Mm-hmm. And the Yankees are stuck with him. I don't know why they're doing this. They got Peraza, who's better than him, waiting to come up. Call him up, for God's sake. Stop it.
Now, Nick, I want to get this question in. Before we sign off, why should the Yankees bite the bullet and start calling up a couple of prospects rather than and who gets cut off the like would you replace Falefa with Peraza?
What? Okay, so if Falefa was playing dominant defense, that's one thing. If you're playing dominant defense and you're just not really doing much, that I mean, I can live with that. Definitely. If you're not getting dominant defense and you're also getting a below average, I mean, he's hitting 270, but he's not giving you any kind of power, any spark in the lineup. Why not bring up a youngster? Even if the youngster just comes in and just plays like spectacular defense, boom, you win right there. Exactly. You win. And then if he gives you a little something with the bat, then you even win even more. But
all he needs to do is hit one home run, and he's doing better than IKF. So it's not really.
IKF doesn't look very. He looks like a third baseman playing shortstop.
Well, that's what he is.
Exactly what he is. Yeah.
I mean, that's what he looks like. So, championships teams don't. You have to be.
We might as well have kept Gio Urshela. Gio Urshela would have done exactly that. He's a third baseman playing shortstop, and he played a much better shortstop than IKF has played this year.
Yeah.
But the Yankees have to prove that this trade was the right thing to do. So they're going to ride this. They're going to ride it. They're going to beat that dead horse, boy. They're going to beat it till it's
even if it costs you a championship, huh?
Super dead. Yeah, because that's what Brian Cashman's done in the past. So I don't trust that it's ever going to change. He's already tried to justify it these last couple of weeks, so you'll continue to do it. But man, Peraza's waiting there. Did you, Chaz? Did you read that Brandon Cootie article where he's just sort of like fans who want Peraza called up, suck it up? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't read the whole article, but I saw a couple of clips from it. And no, I think Brandon Cuddy's a little off base on that one.
A little bit.
Because at the beginning of the season, it was like, all right, let him adjust. But now that, at this point in the season, we're seeing exactly, why Texas moved on from him in the first place. Especially, if he was so valuable in as defense, they would have gotten a better deal for him.
You see why the Twins moved on from him super fast. The Twins moved on from him super fast.
Yeah. And that tells you everything.
It does. It
really does. Can't put him on waivers, though, because somebody will pick him up. That's what Cashman's thinking.
So what? At this point, it's not about that can't be a factor. The only thing that's on Cashman's mind is winning a World Series, because at the end of the year, his contract's up, and it's going to be an interesting debate on whether to keep Cashman while we're still in a drought.
Cashman's not going anywhere.
I don't think
agree. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he does too.
As long as he makes the postseason, and we said in the beginning of the year, Nick, if once they gave Boone that extension, Cashman's was to follow, because the two of them are,
in sync.
I think Boone's a bigger problem. Boone's a bigger problem than Cashman.
I agree. Cashman actually had a good deadline. I think Cashman had a very good deadline.
You think Boone's gonna be able to outmanage Buck Showalter and Dusty Baker? It ain't happening.
No. Oh, there's no way he could out.
You know what I mean? No. Boone's the problem, not Cashman.
The Cardinals manager outmanaged Aaron Boone there in that series, and
Mimic or two for the Braves. I mean,
I think Aaron Boone's done a much better job this year, and I like him personally. And he's a lot better this year than he was last year. He was an absolute atrocity last year, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt to that extent. But I think he's being outmanaged over the last few weeks. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, that's why it's very strange. It's been really a tale of two seasons so far, and just like yesterday was it almost looked like two separate ball games were played. So, we'll see if the Yankees can pick it up and take the series today with a day game.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
No, I don't. Not anymore. But this has been the Pinstripe Chronicles.
Get some sleep, Yankee fans. We ain't worth it.
Yeah. Wear your pinstripes with pride. Play on.